I do love when vets get on camera and lie about things that they have no clue about. Here's Dr. Orion talking about raw diets and how they're so bad. Now, as a caveat, you need to understand that I've been raw feeding now for 25 years, and I haven't had to pay a vet for any money due to regarding illness or disease. Okay? I don't spay and neuter, and I've never vaccinated a dog. Let's get into this video.
So you thought that famous dog trainers only give bad dog training advice?
Oh, that's where we agree, because they give a whole lot of bad dog training advice. But so do vets.
Well, guess again, they also give bad health advice.
I can't wait to hear this.
And more specifically, they recommend raw diets, even though they are very unhealthy.
A raw diet is very unhealthy. Okay, so I've been feeding raw diet for 25 years, but you're going to sit there and tell me that it's all very unhealthy. Gotcha.
For example,
as a canine behaviourist, I'm a huge
Will Atherton, I can't stand the man, but you know what? I respect the fact that he's pushing raw feeding.
advocate for feeding your dog raw. I've seen it make incredible health transformations
Yes, big time.
and behavioural transformations
Yes, big time.
for dogs.
or if you want another example,
We've got our personal dog.
Garrett Wing, another one that I can't stand, but you know what? I gotta respect the fact that he pushes raw diets.
Raw for over 10 years, so we're very well versed in it. What are the benefits of raw feeding? It's all natural. Your dogs love it. You know exactly where the food's coming from. It's pretty much straight from farm to table, and you know exactly what's going into your dog's body.
well, you get the point. If this is your first time here, then hi, thank you for joining. I'm Dr. Orion. I'm a veterinarian and a veterinary behavior specialist.
And that's something else we're gonna talk about, you and I. You guys are out there talking about Conrad Most, but you're screaming, "Yay, Skinner!"
Behavior specialist, not nutrition.
If you're a behavior specialist, doctor, get on camera. Do me one favor. Do the world one big favor. Get on camera and define the actual word behavior and explain it for people. I'm willing to bet you can't do it.
Nutrition specialist. And yet, I can tell you that what these two guys are saying is completely BS. And
Complete BS. I've been feeding raw for 25 years. Let's get into this video.
if after everything I'm gonna explain, you still don't trust me,
I don't trust vets as far as I can throw them because doing no harm is out the window. You're doing harm and you're making money off of harm. Nobody should trust a vet anymore. And 20 years ago, it was vets that forced me to wake up and start researching vet medicine, to start researching the and dog biology, the whole 9 yards, so I can actually properly advocate for my dog. I got myself informed consent because you won't give it as a vet. Vets are not giving informed consent over dog food. They're not giving informed consent over spay and neuter. They're not giving informed consent over vaccines. Guess what? There's a problem with that.
well, go search the scientific data that's available.
Scientific data. Where's the scientific data available on dog food? Mars is producing it. All the dog food companies are producing it, but they're going against raw feeding, and there's a reason for it. Dr. Orion, for some reason, is not going to admit that the dog is one complete carnivore. Okay? He's going to try to sell the dog as an omnivore. Because now the dog is domesticated, right? And all of a sudden, magically, domestication changes everything. Let's have a listen.
Or even reach out to a veterinary nutritionist.
Vet nutritionists, all they ever learn is from Mars Incorporated and dog food companies. That's all they learn about vaccines is from vaccine companies. That's it. You're learning the wrong shit, and you won't open your mind to it.
Which is a veterinarian that not only finished veterinary school like all of us.
Here we go, the position of authority. I'm the vet, you gotta listen to me. You know what? I'm not a vet and I don't listen to you anymore. Because now I've got informed consent. I had to teach myself informed consent because you're not giving it.
But also went into a very hard nutrition residency where he was trained for
Trained by who? Trained by who? Admit it.
4 and sometimes even more years specifically on nutrition for different animals, including dogs.
What is a dog? A dog is a carnivore. We're going to get into this, and I'm going to be giving the people the informed consent that you won't. That's the reality. Let's get into this video.
Feed dogs raw diets, you feed them meat that wasn't cooked.
No shit. Lions eat raw meat. Tigers eat raw meat. If a cat eats a mouse, most people freak out now. Should I call a vet? Your cat is a carnivore. That's what they're supposed to do.
Basically. And that carries different risks. Uncooked meat can have all kinds of parasites like salmonella, E. coli, and even all kinds of worms. And
I haven't experienced this. In 25 years, my dog's been eating raw. Raw chicken, he'll chow down on a raw chicken, come up and lick me on the face. I'm not lab clean. I've never gotten sick in 25 years. I've never gotten sick from a raw diet, from a raw fed dog. And my dog licks me all the time. I could give a shit. What the hell are you talking about? You haven't fed raw. You don't know anything about raw feeding, but yet here you are. I'm the vet. Listen to me. I'm the expert.
a lot of bad stuff. No,
A lot of bad stuff, but he won't tell you what the bad stuff is. He's not going to sit there and explain it to you.
You're putting your own dog at risk. If you're feeding one of those diets, you're actually putting yourself at risk.
The only risk to feeding a dog raw is human stupidity. There's a lot of boutique dogs out there right now, and it's supposed to be a meal in a bag, but the problem is they're not balanced. Okay, they're boutique. They're not a balanced diet. Number one thing, if you're going to be getting into raw feeding, you need to understand a little bit of nutrition. Now, here's the big kicker. You're not putting a man on the moon. You're feeding the dog. It's not that hard. But yet he's trying to put a man on the moon. Okay?
Why? Because while you're preparing that meat, or even after the dog ate it and it touched the food bowl.
So you're telling me if I cook myself a raw steak, to a medium rare, all of a sudden I got to be concerned about salmonella and whatnot? What bullshit are you pushing here?
Then the dog licked something else, you can actually get it yourself.
That's bullshit. 25 years. I've been feeding raw. Been around a lot of raw fed diets. I've converted a lot of owners to raw. Hundreds, maybe thousands of dogs over the last 20 years. 25 years since I've been feeding raw. Raw can be magical. It can be a magic bullet to solve a lot of problems. Behavioral, medical, the whole 9 yards. But he doesn't want you to know all this. Just sweep all that shit underneath the rug.
And if you think that your dog has this crazy, amazing, shielded gastrointestinal system, like this metal stomach that can...
Here's the thing. Dogs produce a whole lot more hydrochloric acid than humans do. That's nature. You look at a vulture. They can digest raw bone or friggin' raw bones that have been desiccated in the sun for a year. That's nature. That's the way it is.
digest everything and kill all bacterias, you are definitely wrong. And that's exactly what...
Bacterias. Kill all bacterias. You don't want to kill all bacterias. There's some beneficial bacterias that need to be in your dog's gut. This is why I'm dead set against antibiotics. And they're feeding antibiotics like freaking crazy because it's killing all the good stuff and the bad stuff.
Why your dog is at risk if he's eating raw diets. They have nothing special in their stomachs.
My dog has actually hidden raw chicken for 2 or 3 days. It's purple when he brings it out. Okay? It's still raw. It's purple. It's been sitting in the freaking heat for 2 or 3 days unbeknownst to me. And he's sitting there eating it. He's still not getting sick. I'm still not getting sick from it. What are you talking about?
Compared to ours, and the same way that we can get infected, they can get infected. Not only that, many of the nutrients are absorbed much better if the meat is processed and not eat raw.
Meat is processed. Dog food is processed to shit. Okay? There's nothing left. They actually have, once the food is processed, they got to put vitamins and minerals back into it to try to balance it. What are you talking about?
And yes, I know that there are a lot of stories of dogs that got better on all kinds of fronts.
Oh, I know all, the stories. You know what? We're going to sweep all those underneath the rug. That's all the anecdotal evidence that I don't want you to see. Listen to me. I'm the expert. He's coming at you from a position of authority. I'm the expert. I learned all this stuff. You know what? You're full of shit. You need to start reading raw. If you can't turn around and tell people that dogs are carnivore and they should be eating a carnivore diet, you should lose your license.
Diets or special diets or barf diets, which actually include bones as well, which can also be dangerous.
Oh, bones can also be dangerous. Here we go at layering on the fear. Guess what? When you feed your dog raw bones and it's actually edible bone, that bone is scraping all the shit off your teeth. When you feed proper raw bones, you will never ever need to bring your dog in for another teeth cleaning again. Now, how much does a dental cleaning cost at a vet? There's a reason why they're telling you all this stuff. Don't feed your dog raw bones. Don't feed your dog this. Don't feed your dog that, because they want to make money off of you.
To dogs, but it's a whole different story. Yes, I know that those cases exist,
but we're going to ignore them, right? You don't want people to understand that because you're pushing dog food. You're pushing commercial dog food.
That's what's called anecdotal science.
And there's a whole mountain of anecdotal evidence out there, isn't it? I highly advise people, go into the groups, talk to the dog owners that have switched their dog over to a raw diet, the ones that have had all the medical conditions, the ones that have had all the behavioral issues, and ask them what the outcome is. Don't listen to people like this because he's not in your corner.
Not real science. That's like I heard someone
Oh, it's not real science. What you're pushing as behavioral science isn't real science either. What you're pushing as behavioral is Conrad Most, but you're out there screaming, "Yay, Skinner!" You're lying to people.
saying something, or I saw my dog getting better. But when you look at the numbers, big numbers, you look at the statistics, you're actually doing proper science.
The proper statistics are showing that raw-fed dogs, carnivore-fed dogs, guess what? They're doing a whole lot better. Because you're feeding a natural, appropriate, biological diet. Raw feeding is the best, as long as it's done properly, as long as you understand what you're getting into.
You find out that overall dogs that were eating processed foods were living longer.
Really? If a human being gets diabetes and they go to a doctor, what is the doctor going to tell them? Get off the fucking processed foods and start eating more natural food. Start cooking your food. If a dog with diabetes goes to a vet, they're telling you point blank, here's another bag of highly processed garbage that caused diabetes in the first place. But he doesn't want you to know that. There's a reason for it. I'm going to get into the pancreas and why diabetes exists in the first place.
And we're healthier. And if someone is using the excuse of, yeah, they eat processed food and that's why all of these dogs are getting cancer, guess what? If you live to be 100 years old, there's a higher chance that you'll get cancer.
Oh, here he goes to explain it all away. My grandmother lived to 100. My great grandmother lived to 105 years old. She never got cancer. She died of old age.
Compared to someone who died at their 20s. So dogs that ate raw diets and died at 5, 6, but not from cancer, compared to dogs that died at 15 and had cancer because they just were 15. Yeah,
You ever hear the name Karen Becker, Dr. Karen Becker? Because she would disagree with you on all this stuff. Okay? I trust Dr. Becker more than I would trust you.
it's not the diet. And it doesn't end
It's not the diet. No, diet doesn't cause cancer. Diet doesn't make dogs sick. Really? Come on.
there. It's not just the fact that the meat itself, the raw meat itself, is not healthy. It's also the
The raw meat itself is not healthy. So when lions, tigers, other carnivores eat raw meat, this is not a healthy diet for them, is it? What the hell are you talking about, doctor?
quality control of it. Commercial diets usually follow the guidelines of the AAFCO. I will put
Have you ever watched how they manufacture dog food? Again, they cook the living shit out of it, then they have to put the vitamins and minerals back in, artificial sources of vitamins and minerals back into it. What are you talking about? Hill's Science Diet, they actually have a patent for putting polyethylene into plastic into the dog food. Why?
the link down below. That means that they should contain all of the ingredients and all of the vitamins, minerals.
And once again, they cook the shit out of everything, and then they got to put artificial sources of vitamins and minerals back into the food to balance it out. What are you talking about?
Proteins, carbohydrates, fat.
Carbohydrates. Dogs have no metabolic need for carbs, starches, and sugars. But he doesn't want to admit this because the dog food itself is 30 to 70% carbs, starches, and sugars. And all the shit that's in there is all the byproducts that human beings won't eat. When vets are pushing corn as a great protein, they're not getting whole peaches and cream processed into the food. They're getting the leftovers of dent corn, field corn. What's left over from processing corn syrup, what's being put into dog food is indigestible. It's simply a filler, but this guy's calling it a protein.
Everything that the dog needs. And it's not just the meat protein. I'll tell you something else. Too much protein can actually lead to behavior changes. If you want to hear...
Yeah, excellent behavior changes. And we're going to get into it. What is a carnivore? How do you define a carnivore? It's a meat-eating animal. What makes a dog a carnivore? They do not produce amylase in their saliva. Human beings, we produce amylase in our saliva. We are omnivores. Okay? Let's get that difference. What is amylase? When human beings eat starch, the amylase in their saliva starts to break down the starch into simple sugars that you can digest. Problem is, as a carnivore, the dog doesn't produce amylase in their saliva. They cannot break down starches into sugars. Guess what? Their pancreas can. Pancreas in the dog can produce small amounts of amylase to deal with the small amounts of starch they would get in the environment. The problem is they are not equipped to deal with the sheer amounts of starch in dog food. So what winds up happening? The pancreas itself can't produce enough amylase, the pancreas gets stressed, the pancreas gets inflamed, and you wind up with low-grade pancreatitis, and that frickin' hurts. Dogs are very good at hiding pain. And guess what? Pain is a great driver of behavioral issues. Once you switch a dog over to raw diet, where there is no starch, no carbs, no nothing that the dog doesn't need, guess what? The pancreas heals. Pancreatitis goes away, and this is the reason why a lot of behavioral issues go away as well. But he doesn't want you to know this. Welcome to Informed Consent.
More about that, write down below in the comments. There is nothing natural about raw diets.
There's nothing natural about raw diets. Lions, tigers, every other carnivore out there is eating a natural raw diet, but this asshole is sitting there telling you, oh yeah, it's not a natural diet. Feed dog food instead. Dog food has only been around for 100 years, doctor. What did dog live on prior to dog food showing up? What was the natural diet for dogs over the course of 30,000 years? Because dog food itself only served us 100 years ago. And now we got a whole lot of sick dogs, we got a whole lot of ill-behaved dogs, we got a whole lot of issues with dogs. And it's just getting worse. But you're sitting here on camera going, oh yeah, feed a high-processed diet.
Dogs are domesticated animals. They're not...
Oh, they're domesticated animals, and just because now overnight they've been domesticated, overnight their freaking digestive system changed so that they can cope with dog food. They don't need raw diets anymore. What are you getting on with? This is the ridiculous bullshit that I'm tired of with the vets. Do no harm is out the window. They're selling you a crock of bullshit so they can make money off you.
Natural. They don't live in nature. Well, they are natural, but they don't live in nature. You get my point. Same is true about people. We don't live in nature anymore, and we eat processed foods, and we cook our food, and we don't just eat vegetables and meat. And
yes, and what is all the processed food doing? You look at humanity today. You look in the States and Canada. At least half the population right now is overweight. They're sick. They're not healthy because of all the processed foods. But here he is pushing processed foods. Once again, if a human being has diabetes, you go to a doctor, they're going to tell you to stop eating processed foods. Okay? But yet you go to a vet with a dog with diabetes, guess what? Here's another bag of highly processed crap that caused it in the first place. And yes, dog food will cause diabetes, just like in people.
that's it. We actually have supplements inside of our processed food.
Yeah, once again, they cook the ever-living shit out of everything, and then they have to put artificial sources of vitamins and minerals back into the food to make it balanced. What are you getting on with? Where did you get your nutritional information from? I'm not even a vet.
Or we take extra vitamins and we live longer than before.
We take extra vitamins because of all the processed food that don't contain vitamins. 200 years ago, pirates on friggin' wooden vessels knew to carry citrus. Because why? It curbs scurvy. What is scurvy? The lack of vitamin C, ascorbic acid. But yet we got children going to the hospital right now with friggin' scurvy. Parents don't even know to feed their kid vitamin C. What are you getting on with?
You're technically healthier than before. Nowadays, you don't even...
We are not healthier than we were before. My great-grandmother lived to 105 years old. She never had processed foods. Okay? It's the processed food that's killing people. You look at around humanity, do you think people are healthy? Dogs aren't healthy, people aren't healthy, but yet there's idiots sitting in his chair going, oh yeah, processed foods.
You need to eat meat in order to be healthy. No.
You don't need to eat meat to be healthy. We are omnivores. We are supposed to be eating meat and vegetables, whatever have you. Dogs don't need all that shit. Dogs don't need vegetables. Dogs need meat. That's the reality.
If for some reason you don't want to feed your dog commercial diets because you feel that they're like overly processed, which is not the case. It just means
overly processed, which is not the case. Again, they cook the living shit out of it, and then they got to put artificial sources of vitamins and minerals back into the food to balance it out. This guy is flat out lying to you. Lying to you. Do no harm is out the window. They want to make money off you. Now, what are we going to talk about with cooked diets?
that you don't really know how those diets are made. And
you know what? You can get online and watch how these diets are made. They're not fit for dog consumption. They're not fit for human consumption because everything that goes into dog food, all the byproducts that human beings do not want to eat. That's the reality. Dog food is a dumping ground for everything that human beings won't eat.
what is the actual meaning of byproducts and stuff like that?
Again, byproducts. Why don't you define what a byproduct is? It's all the crap that human beings don't want to eat. That's what's going into dog food. It's a dumping ground for everything that human beings don't want to eat. And most of it is just fillers. It's leftovers. Like corn. Your dog is not getting peaches and cream corn processed into the food. They're getting the leftovers from dead corn after being processed for corn syrup. What's left over is indigestible. It's simply a filler that's coming out the ass end. Dogs can't digest it, but yet he's telling you, oh yeah, feed it.
It's a bit more more complicated than that.
Oh, it's a bit more complicated than that. I'm the only one that understands it. You know what? You're too stupid to understand it. People, sit down and educate yourselves. You're feeding a dog, not putting a man on the moon, but he's trying to make it complicated to sound like you're putting a man on the moon.
And people like using those terms to make it sound worse. But
Oh, God, you sound like Robert Cabral trying to define the word behavior. I don't like big words. The ranks right up there was a woman. This is ridiculous. I can't even do this anymore. You know what? Have a good night.